I understand everyone likes the look. I can see why. I was just saying it's the wife's opinion that what matters the most, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but trust me, my wife doesn't like the look. So she's behind my life to probably go back to the clean shave look.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Bata. My name is Sid, and today I've got with me a very different looking Rishi Kapoor with me. Sir, welcome to the channel. He is the man behind Sapphire consultancy, which deals with HR. He's also got a bunch of different projects. He's a master with content selling. He's a master with media marketing. He's a great person with events as well. So it's actually amazing to have someone who's done so much in so many different areas with so many different companies. I mean, this is an honor for the channel.
Hey, Sid, hi.
Hi. All right, so we're going to talk to Sir about his journey. We're going to talk to him about how he got to where he is, how he's going to encourage people, young people that are watching to sort of, chase whatever they're doing. You have done so many things in so many different companies. And I think this is a span of like the major chunk of this is like in 15 years, you have sort of, done a bunch of things. What has the journey been like? Where did we start this entire tale?
Uh, I started this post my master's, and it's been, like you said, it's the 16th year while I'm working as a professional. I started my journey with Monster. That was my first placement post my master's, and I did the entire tricks of sales while working with Monster because that was the first platform. And post Monster, the typical mindset when you say you're working for a job portal, people used to think, "Arey, ye to HR ka banda hai. Arey, isko to job." But though I was handling the sales profile, that was the typical mindset. You can label, yeah, he's the HR guy, he understands HR better. So I wanted to move out of that typical labeling of HR person because I understood my forte was sales. Ultimately, I want to become a great sales guy. Ultimately, I want to become a business guy, what I am today. So obviously it was a journey, and then I got a break in media. I started my media journey with IDG Media. I learned the tricks of how media functions over there. Though they were the largest in IT domain globally, but very much tweaked towards and focused towards the IT domain, right? The IT part of media sales. And the thing within me was to learn more about media because that was the first time I moved to media. And then eventually I got the break with HT, which was a larger role. And it was handling a bigger portfolio. So I said, why to probably stick to again? That's a question that always comes when you're growing professionally, that how you can widen your horizon, right? It's
Sure.
about learning more. It's about adding those value to your current growth. So that's what one of the reason I moved to HT. Did pretty well over there, and then have worked with multiple firms. My longest stint was with Times of India. Started a division ET Edge. So we were a set of people who started a division from scratch. ET Edge was a brand name under which we used to function. In fact, so it was all about creating those events and that face time for a set of people who probably come interact. So we used to give them that environment about coming and meeting and discussing the challenges and the opportunities which were there within the segment, and maybe even at a larger level. So we did pretty well. We started the division with a team of 8 people. Then probably it was an 100+ team within Times of India, and we were a known division within Times of India. It's important because if you look at Times of India, it's an ocean, right? So many companies, so many divisions within Times of India. Creating your own mark within the group and people knowing what this particular division is, I think that was the height when I was working there. Got the best of the support from my bosses, from my team members. We did pretty well because end of the day, if you do well, it's all about the right set of people whom you work with. It's the team who probably helps you drive the business. It's the team who helps you achieve the pinnacle when you probably work. So I always say whatever I have achieved while I was at Times of India for close to 7 years, while the way I had grown within the set within Times of India was all credit goes to the team. All credit goes to my bosses who probably guided me in the right way. And yes, I grew. I learned a lot of things. I learned the nuances of how to create an event. What are the basic small details that you need while you start a project. It's about creating the blueprint and at the same time how you probably convert the blueprint into a right execution and
Right.
giving the right delivery to the customer. So following the cycle, understanding about the business was the key. So was there for 7 years, and eventually then I met the co-founder and CEO of Sapphire Human Solution, Ankit Bansal. And there is a story behind how I probably joined Sapphire is because Ankit, so Sapphire Human Solution and Ankit, they work with the biggest firms in India. So they work for Big Four, they work with multinational firms and Indian multinational, homegrown multinational as well. So there was an opening with a US-based firm for which Ankit approached me. And, we were discussing about the mandate, and eventually while we were discussing about it, he said, hey, listen, why won't you start a division for me? We've been doing this business and we are the best in India. And we have built more than 900 CXOs connect while we have placed those CXOs across different industries. Why can't you start this division for me? Create a division which is into, B2B meeting space and probably use our expertise and build it on that.
Right.
And that's how, after a couple of meetings with him and then, doing the brainstorming, creating the, business plan, we said, okay, this is the thing we should do. So I joined the firm as one of the partners. I'm working there with them as an associate partner. While I'm working as a partner for Sapphire Human Solution, at the same time, I'm heading this business called Sapphire Connect. It's a division within Sapphire Human Solution, which I have created. And obviously, I have a set of people who are working with me, great talent. And what we are focusing is to create that B2B meeting space where people can come, they can get the real face time with each other, right? Because that's what matters when you meet the right set of people. That's what you do when you provide a platform, whether it's an industry-led platform, or it's a horizontal, whatever you do. So we made a great plan for the year, but then the COVID thing hit, and obviously the entire thing has changed. So in the current situation, you have to float, right? You have to make money end of the day. So have reworked the plan for Sapphire Connect, working on some new concept which can be probably executed virtually, because I think today virtual summit is the most important thing, because end of the day you can't stop business. End of the day, people will still meet each other, if not physically, then virtually, right? So we are trying to create some new properties which are unique in nature in different industry, and I've been working on it, and we have already one property which is on the cards right now, which we are planning to execute in the month of August, and there are multiple more. So if you ask me what is the learning is nothing is constant. Even if you plan the best of the things for yourself, thinking this is gonna work, maybe something like COVID can happen, which is not in control of anyone, and then you have to rework the plan. The idea is, a situation like this tests your character. That is more important.
That's true.
How strong you are during these time and come back with a bang, with the new ideas, with new plans, and still make them up. So that is what I'm trying to do right now, to create something new in the given situation, and probably create something which is decent in the terms of people should talk about it. I don't have the backing of Hands of India with me right now.
Right.
But what I have is my understanding about the business. What I have is the intelligence about the business. What I have is a great team who helps me execute my plan.
Right.
So that's what I can say stays with you. So if you ask me, what are the learnings? The learnings are, whatever you do, give your best. End of the day, efforts matter, but obviously delivery also matter. But if you believe in yourself, you believe in your idea, give your 100%. It's always here. If you have a positive thinking, you end up probably creating positive environment. You end up getting the right result, which you probably desire out of that particular activity.
Right.
So I think that's the key, and that's what I say. Whenever any individual, whichever stage of growth graph they are right now, whether they're starting their career right now, whether in the mid level or senior level, I think what matters is the self-belief and giving the best shot.
I totally right. I totally relate, because like you mentioned, like things are never going to come to like the way they used to be, right? It's already
Right.
like we have already transgressed from our old ways into maybe newer business models, into newer properties, into things that might not have existed but now have to exist given the current constraints. So like since you have that kind of experience, and since I am also from events, I think I can get a better idea about this particular thing from you. How do you think business has changed? post COVID, or is there any hope for normalcy? And I again put it in double inverted because it's a very subjective thing what the normalcy is, financially, or the way something is planned, or the design of a product, or whatever it is. Do you think there's a changing trend, and how is that changing?
So trust me, post COVID, things will definitely change. In fact, if you look at what we are doing, the way we consume products, the way we consume services has already changed. Because what is important is the need of an hour. What is important today is what you want to focus on. I'm I'm telling you, things will also change once the lockdown gets over. Even if when you're talking about normalcy, I think that things will be normal. It can take 3 months, it can take 6 months, it can probably take more than that time. So nobody knows when the things will be back to normal. But what is important is how to tackle situation right now, how to create a backup plan. Because end of the day, you have to run your business, right? Like I said,
Sure.
I was waiting that in a couple of months' time, maybe things will be better, and I would go back to my original plan and probably start doing the on-ground events. But then I realized, things are not moving. You have to either adopt to the current situation and adopt to the current way people are consuming things. That's how I said, virtual event is the key right now.
Right.
People. So I remember one of my team members who used to look after the IT vertical. He came to me while I was with Times of India. He came to me with an idea of doing a virtual event 1.5, 2 years back. And I was like, what the crap is this? Why people will do virtual event when you can meet face to face, when the meetings actually happen physically. Right.
Right.
And today, when I look back, I think, he probably understood the business better than me. And he knew that this will be the end thing. Today, everyone wants to do virtual event. That's the best part. You can't discount things. You can't probably, ignore things because it's a cycle. Something probably somebody must have invented or people must have invested in the technology, keeping in mind that, in future, people will move towards it.
Right. Right.
Like, for example, if you look at the reading habit of newspaper, globally, if you look at in the Western countries, 10 years back, people eventually moved from reading the physical copy to what they used to consume news on the move. It was all digital. They used to read it on the phone. They used to read it on the laptop. In India, it's a different market altogether. I remember when I was in HT, and when that time that group CEO, Mr. Rajiv Verma, came, and he was talking about, we should invest more in tech-driven platforms because in 10 years in India, people will stop reading newspaper. But trust me, it's more than that. The people still hook to the reading physical copy. Even I love reading physical copy of newspaper, whether I read the entire newspaper in morning or probably I read it before I go to bed. But I do read it. But look at COVID. Now you have no option. When you're not getting a physical copy of newspaper delivered at your doorstep, what do? You read newspaper. Either you read the e-paper on your phone, or you probably go and consume news on digital platform, right?
Right.
Something things change. The way you also consume, never thought about it. The pattern, the consumption, or the way Indian audiences, the way they look at things is much different from the what happens in West. But if something like COVID happens, even you end up changing your habits, right? Nobody knows your habits. So you have to change yourself. You have to change your plan. You have to adopt as per the current situation. That's the key. And I think everybody is doing the same. There is no rocket science because if somebody to change the way they look at their business.
Sure. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about sales since you have a sales background, and I'll just tell you something about me. I spent 2 years doing sales. I learned everything I had to from that sales job, and I moved on into like an entrepreneurial thing. I know for a fact firsthand that sales teaches you a lot, but it's not a choice that people consciously make. It's still looked at as a backup job for a lot of people, while it can be something which provides great promise career-wise. I want you to help me out with this. What is the problem? Why aren't people looking at sales as something like that? And why should people be looking at sales more seriously?
It depends from individual to individual.
Right.
When I took up my first sort of Monster, I was not great. I did my master's in marketing and finance. I did my BCom honors in finance. But eventually I landed up doing sales because I knew back of the mind that I'm not great in finance. Then what is the best option? A lot of people say when you have nothing to do sales. But not everybody can probably excel in what you do. You need to give your 100%. You need to learn the nitty-gritty about what you are doing. Whether you are in admin, whether you're in HR, whether you're in sales, you have to give your best. At the same time, I think it's the belief, like I always say. A lot of people start doing sales, but because of the pressure that you have in sales, A lot of people give up in between. They say, "Yeah, sales make effective because I'm getting that constant pressure, number pressure." But if that's the case, you shouldn't have first taken up the sales as one of the domain that you want to venture into. And if you realize it's not the space that you want to be, then you should immediately first introspect and look at what you are good at. And then choose. If you are not good in sales, then what you're good at. It should not happen that you take up HR or you take up marketing, and then after 2 years, then you again realize, oh no, this is not my cup of tea. Then what you want to do? Every time you can't start from scratch. I think it's important to probably spend time with yourself in a room. When I started my career, I tell you what I used to do. Every maybe 3 months, I used to sit alone in the room and I used to see what I have done in the last 3 months. I used to set my milestone. After the end of the year, where I will see myself in terms of as a professional, as an individual, what is the growth I'm looking at in my professional career? What are my goals in my personal life? When I am to buy the first car, my flat. I used to set those parameters and I used to introspect and analyze myself where I am, where are my targets. And that's how I used to push myself. That's how you push yourself to probably achieve your goals, whether it's professional goals, whether it's in personal goals. So I'm saying it's important for an individual to know what they are good at. Everybody has something good in them. Everybody probably will have something which makes them unique and make them special. Every individual. It's about how you figure out that uniqueness and that talent in you and probably start focusing towards building it. So I was saying I was with IDG, and when I was moving to HT, my boss, he told me, Padu was the name, she told me, why you want to move to sales? You have great connects with the IT firm. When you want to move towards the client side and probably take up a marketing job, you know everyone in IT domain, all the big firms. So I told her, I have thought about it. And I understand the fact that sales is something which I enjoy the most. And sales is something I want to excel. Whatever I'm doing, so I had my own plan. Like I said, I always keep on setting those milestones that which I want to achieve, whether it's personal, whether it's professional. And that was part of my milestone. That the next step was HT. Because I was growing not only in terms of, obviously, salary matters, not only in terms of the monetary aspect, but even the profile was very exciting. So it was adding a lot of value to my profile, and I can see and it's for everyone. Whenever you take one step, you should always think where that particular step will take you. What are the next 2 steps from there? It should not happen that you take up something and you know what you want to do after that.
Right.
It should pave the way for you what next. And that's how I could make decisions. And sometimes I made the right decision, sometimes I must have probably made the wrong decision. But whenever I made the wrong decision, I have tried to learn from those mistakes so that next time I should not do. A lot of people say, you should know what you are supposed to do. I say, no, you should know what you're not supposed to do. It's important to know what you should not do. This is important, but it's important to know, you learn from others' mistakes. It's not about your mistakes. Sometimes it's not about, if you start making mistakes every now and then you're finished. So you make mistakes, you learn from it, and some of the time you have to observe people around you and see what mistakes they are making, which you should make.
Right.
So that's how I have grown as a professional. Sale is good. Trust me. You tell me, most of the time the CEO of any firm, is it a marketing or is it a finance guy? Most of the time it's the sales guy who becomes the CEO of a firm. If you look at stats, maximum people who become a CEO either are from the sales background or they are from the finance background.
Right.
So sales is something, because when you do sales, you don't only learn the aspect of sales, you also end up learning the other aspect that supports sales, which is the marketing,
right,
which is the processes. And that is the holistic approach that make a sales guy one up compared to others. The financial banda can become a CEO, but the financial banda doesn't understand the sales cycle in depth, and they are not involved in marketing. Even if they understand sales, because they have to get the numbers from the sales guys and they need to analyze those numbers. The sales guys always have an edge above any other department you look at. So I was pretty clear. I know where I'm heading towards, and that's what I tell people. Like you said, what people should do. Why if they have chosen sales as the domain they want to excel, then they should give their 100% and they should excel. There should be no looking back. Yeah, pressure और job में आता है. A lot of people, and sales की beauty क्या है? And I used to talk to my bosses, even in EDH, my boss. I used to talk to her, and whenever we used to have a chat, we used to talk about, sales क्यों अच्छा है, क्या the best part of sales is you can quantify sales. If I'm great sales guy, my numbers will speak for me. If I'm a bad sales guy, my numbers will speak for me. In any other division, whether it's finance or it's marketing, it's more qualitative. Trust me. You may have targets, but at the end of the day, when you sit for the review, you can probably gain more leverage on the qualitative aspect. But sales will never lie. The numbers will never lie. It's transparent. So if you're good and your numbers speak for you, you will grow fast compared to any other person. Sales may grow zyada hoti, you make more money. Incentives are there. So I'm talking about people who are hearing us right now. They should know the fact that sales is not bad. It's about how you get yourself involved in the business. It's all about how you see grow in the business, and you should set your own milestone. And I'm trust me, people will grow. Sales or marketing could be, but sales में आने के बाद pressure तो आएगा यार. That's part and parcel.
100%.
Whatever you're doing, start कर जो भी कोई pressure देना होता है.
100%. I also want to quickly ask you. There are so many different career opportunities. There are so many different avenues where people are trying to, sort of monetize. मैंने channel खोल डाला उस चक्कर में. What I'm saying is, what is an employer looking for? You are at that position where you are sort of making a lot of decisions, and this is primarily for the workforce. What is an employer looking for? At the end of the day, what are the qualities you guys are looking for? Because let's be honest, resumes will only tell you so much about a person, right? There's more than that. So what are the qualities one needs to inculcate to, be, I wouldn't say employable, but be someone that adds value, someone that can be an asset to the organization?
What you look at in an individual is someone who can probably is ready to adopt in the situation, because when you move from one company to another company, you have to probably adopt yourself in the culture and the environment of that firm. Two, you should always have the knack of learning more. And you can only learn more when you take more responsibility. There are people who will just do their day-to-day job because they are being paid by the company. They come at 9, they move at 6. They're more happy with the fact that I 9 to 6 काम किया. I was being asked to do ABCD. I did ABCD and I move on. Someone who moves out of their normal, what you call day-to-day work activity and probably try to explore more. Someone who wants to spend more time doing research. Somebody who wants to probably come and ask me and say, hey, listen, I guess you are doing this. Can I probably help you in achieving what you want to achieve out of the activity you're doing? Because at the end of the day, if he takes up the job, he also learns along with me, right? While he may help me, but he also learns in the process. And these are the people who probably go first, who are ready to take the challenge, people who are ready to probably take responsibility, because at the end of the day, if you have not done something in the past, you will learn during the course. We are there to help them as seniors and guide them when required. And you need those people who probably step up and say, listen, I'm there to help you. I'm there to support you. I'm there to take up more responsibility because I know the fact that you are burdened with too many things, right?
Right.
So, ये लोग जो होते हैं ना, ये breed जो होती है, they are the ones who excel, whatever they do. And these are the kind of people. You will not find this on resume, like you rightly said. It will only happen when they start working with you. Once you start assigning job to them, you will figure out how good or bad they are in terms of their timeline, in terms of quality of delivery, how they execute. They can be bad. It's our job to guide them. As a senior, as a leader, it's us who should lead by example. There are times probably you have to pick up the phone and help them close their deals. There are times you probably have to go with them and close their deals, right? But they need to pick it up from there. If the person is a great learner, if the person have the ability to probably, like I said, learn and probably have the zeal to probably excel, he will pick it up from where you leave, right?
Right.
That's where you find the right set of people in the system. If they don't learn, if they don't adopt, if they don't probably take your help when needed, so they will not learn. I have always seen set of people जिनको आप दिन भर बोलोगे morning में भी कि boss things are not happening, evening में बोलोगे things are not happening, they will just say कि कर रहे हैं सर, हो जाएगा, कर लेंगे. ये जो होता है ना, हो जाएगा, कर लेंगे. They are the set of people who are not needed in any system. Either they change themselves or the system will change them. So somewhere or the other they will be losing out. So it's all about getting the set of people who want to take up the ownership and who are ready to learn more. That's where you enjoy when you probably teach them, and they probably once they learn the art, they take it one or two up from where they want to leave them. So that's important. And that's something I always look for. It's difficult to find because sometimes it has happened with me. I find someone take out during the interview but turn out to be a dud. After someone you realize that it's not an asset. You end probably doing everything for her. So yeah, that's the quality I always look at in where are people in my house.
Awesome. Awesome. Like, this interview has been so cool, no? कि मेरे को usually I have to ask the other person, what is your mantra to success? What would you advise people? लेकिन आपने already इतना कुछ बता दिया है. I think everyone has something or the other to think about on so many different aspects. And I think the key over here is basically that you have managed to do a rather wide spectrum of, you've taken a wide spectrum of duties and responsibilities in whatever time that you have, worked. So, jate jate, the only question I want to ask you is how? How does one become so well balanced and so well versed with different aspects of a particular process or a product? And how can one become, so to say, the jack of all trades?
Yeah, ये बहुत difficult question है. Reason being because it depends on individual to individual. If you ask me
Right.
how I balance my, so maybe I'm not great in balancing my professional and my personal life because I end up doing more work. I'm a workaholic, and so if something has been assigned to me, it's always back of my head that I have to deliver it one in that specified timeline. So I go all out to make sure that because if something is being asked, now when I was working in a company, I'm answerable to something. So I don't want that person to probably feel bad about the fact he or she is not being able to deliver something because of me. So that is always the back of the head. Now, when I am running a business, and I always expect the same from the team, you need to be very much involved in such small details because that's probably make or break. That probably is the situation can probably give you a right or wrong results, right? So detailing is important. Whatever detailing, your involvement is important. When you look at things, you have to have a holistic approach. You have to, while you look at detailing, you have to make sure that you don't end up losing certain aspects about the particular process that you're looking at. Three, I always believe timeline is the essence. If you're not being able to do something in a specific timeline, there is no point of doing the activity because that activity will lose the essence. Everything is time bound, right? If you don't do any certain things within a specific time, what's the point of even taking up the task? So I think that's the key.
Awesome, awesome. I don't know how to thank you for this. This has been so informative. Like मुझे बहुत कुछ सीखने मिला है. Forget about everyone else. Even if post it or don't post it doesn't matter. I have learned a lot from this today. So I don't know how to thank you. Thank you so much though for coming and doing this. At least for me, I think that if I had a boss like this, I wouldn't even imagine moving out of this corporate wala scenario and starting something of my own. But this has been awesome, and I really hope everyone here that is looking for employment, that is looking for career opportunities, that is trying to understand which way to go qualities wise, how to basically nail every task you get. This is a fantastic guide to you guys. So thank you once again, sir. This has been amazing.
You're welcome, sir. And best of luck. You're doing a great job.
Thank
I've
you.
seen some of your videos in the past. Good job. I
Thank
hope
you.
you excel in whatever you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So that's Rishi Kapoor, sir, for you guys. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.